regular meeting of the City Council of Calimesa. Sorry about that. Today's Monday, February 2nd. And let me just say at the outset here, any members of the public wanting to make a statement or speak are welcome to do so. You must complete a speaker slip, however. You can get those over here. And please complete that, submit it to the city clerk. But we ask that you would please observe a 3-minute time constraint when doing so. And when called upon, please step forward to the microphone, state your name for the record and whom you represent, and then you can proceed to make your comment. All right? So if we could get a roll call, please.
Councilmember Cundiff.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Molina.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Manley.
Here.
Mayor Cervantes.
Here. Okay, and let the record show that City Manager Cobal present. City Attorney Ennis, welcome back. Our City Clerk Gertis, Finance Director Reed is here, and our Planning Community Development Director, Lucia, is here. Public Works Director Shakir, City Engineer Thornton, and our Deputy Fire Chief Shaw, and our Sheriff Captain Northrop. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. At this time, we're going to conduct our Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor Pro Tem Manley, would you lead us in that?
Please stand. Ready?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to take communications from the public on general statements that are not in reference to any agenda items. So this is an opportunity for members of the public to directly address council on any item not on the agenda within the council's subject matter jurisdiction. This is also a time to speak on an item on the consent calendar. Council members, as council members, though, we're typically limited to maybe asking clarification questions, making referrals to staff, but not to conduct a discussion on the comments. So at this time, Floyd Ferguson. Please come forward.
You can come right after me.
Yes.
My name is, excuse me. My name is Ronald Whitty.
Oh, okay.
I'm on that.
You're Ronald Whitty. Okay, so we'll start with Ronald.
That's fine. I appreciate it. I just want to say thank you, council members and dignitaries. We're a new nonprofit in town called Blue Marble Cultural Arts, dedicated to increasing a better appreciation of fine arts and culture that we have around the world to share and connect with. We're basically a group of teachers and educators and businessmen who really want to bring an enrichment of fine arts to the community. And one of our first events that we're going to be putting on in a big way and in a big splash is right here in Calimesa. Now, maybe some of you have heard, and I'll have Floyd pass out the card about the event that's coming up. It's called the Gathering of the Scottish Clans and Traditional Highland Fete. And I don't have how much time do we go? I don't know how fast that goes. But please, we need your help. This is basically very much of a community-involved event. We're involving other services in the community, the fire, police. It's going to be an economic boost for the community as well. It could be a cultural enrichment. You got the Scottish clans, the music, the song, the dance, the animals, and the kilts. If you ever seen a man in a kilt run, a quarter-mile run, it's going to be a sight to see. There's also business opportunities with this. We got sponsorships that we're looking for. That's a very important aspect of any event we do. So please reach out to me or Floyd. I have some cards here I'd like to pass around. Some more from Floyd. It's an important event. It's coming up in about 6 weeks. So I appreciate your time. And I will now ask Floyd Ferguson to give you more details on the event itself.
Thank you. All right, so Floyd Ferguson.
Yes, I do have a background in running Scottish Games in Southern California, so I bring to Calamasa a history of running Scottish Games in the commercial level. What are the Scottish Games? They are events which over the past hundreds of years in tradition, the clan chiefs have called their members together to actually decide on various things such as the piper, the drummer, the athlete, and the dancer for the clan that get that title. They are the main person through the next year. Plus they do business just like the city council does their business. We have called together at least 10 of the Scottish clans here in Southern California, for all the way from Ventura to Palm Springs and to San Diego are participating in this event. It's a big boost possibly for tourism, something that could become an annual event. We are doing it on a demonstration level, which means the actual folks that attend the event, the clan people themselves, are going to get out there and participate in throwing the caber, the great big long telephone pole, or a version of it scaled down to their size. We're going to include some of the old-fashioned traditions of the tug-of-war, of the kilted mile, and of the public mile. So the public will be able to sign up and participate. There will be prearranged, in fact, what just got word today from Chino. They're planning on sending up a service industry, some of them in kilt, some of them not. These are some of the events: music, hammered dulcimer, bagpipe band, all of that kind of stuff that forms the Celtic culture. It's open to the public. We have a website on givebutter.com that people are already buying tickets. Included in that possibility to buy tickets are for those that want to get together a very limited number on a separate pre-sale ticket for what is called a Ceilidh Saturday night. And that is a Scottish party, maybe some dancing, starting out with a whiskey tasting and moving on in after sundown to a catered dinner with various items that are available during a typical Ceilidh. Highland Coup will show up on the grounds is the plan from Oak Glen up here. And they will be showing off and showcasing, and this is a case of different organizations in the community working together, because we will advertise for them, they will advertise for us. Is that my signal?
Yes, sir. Thank you for
you
being
very
here
much.
tonight. Appreciate you. All right, so Dr. Davina Rivera, thank you.
Letting me speak, it's important. It's kind of silly, but first of all, I would like to address all the potholes that are on Calamasa Boulevard, and they're really bad. And going uphill towards Cherry Valley Boulevard, I've used my Auto Club card to help people with tire damage this last year, probably about 4 times. Some of the potholes have been filled, but it's still bad. Calamasa Boulevard is highly traveled, especially with when the westbound freeway is busy. There are also 3 senior communities living off of Calamasa Boulevard. Next, dear to my heart, is our Calamasa Fire Department, the discussion of an overall pay raise. I have a personal friend and a close one who is a Cal fireman, and he's out of Mecca. I recently attended his mother's funeral together. I socialized with him and all of his family, and they are like my family. I know him well. We were talking about our communities, Cal Fire, Calamasa Fire Department, and he told me that he could not live off of and support his family off of what a California Calamasa firefighter makes. I recently spoke to my friend about the death of one of his fellow firefighters, Danny Cook, who died in the line of duty of a medical emergency while fighting a house fire in Norco, on December 31st, 2025. The job of a firefighter is dangerous and it's extremely stressful. They have to balance a demanding job along with the stress of it with family life, while as average citizens are running away from danger, they're running towards it. I've personally seen our firemen at work. Last year, my neighbor fell in his home and he broke his hip. I saw the front door and the back door of his home open. I walked over to make sure his animals wouldn't get out. One of the firemen secured the animals in a back room. He didn't have to do it, but he did. What got me interested in our local fire department is my significant other is a firefighter off of the coast of Scotland and on an oil rig in the North Sea. He was asking me about our local fire department. I'm a doctor, I'm single, no kids, so I adopted our local fire department. I've been around the firemen for about two and a half years now. Is that my signal? 30 seconds, I'll make it quick. I've made them cookies and breakfast, and I spend some time with these guys. A few days ago, I watched two of them in full gear, and they were going up the side of a building, and I said hello to their fire captain. And while I was talking to him, not once did he take his eyes off of his men. And they were going up pretty high. But I would just like this addressed as a pay raise and to see what we can do for our firefighters here. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, at this time, we're going to move on to our consent calendar items. Let me first ask staff if there's any changes to the agenda or items needing correction, modification, or need to be pulled.
No changes from staff.
Thank you. Now, council, are there any items you would like to pull from the consent calendar?
Mayor, I want to pull item number 2 just for discussion.
Okay, item number 2. Any others? Okay, can I get a motion for the balance of the consent calendar minus item 2?
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve items 1 through 9, except item number 2 on the consent calendar.
And I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let me also clarify, does that motion also include waiver of full reading of ordinances?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. All right, that's a 5-0 vote, and Councilmember Garcia.
The reason why I'm pulling item number 2 just for further discussion is I actually saw the Planning Commission meeting that was addressed for that day, and I just observed and listened that there was actually just, several concerns from our residents, not concerning specifically with the project, but with around the area. So I just want further discussion with and see if we got some directions from that from the city.
Yeah, I mean, the city engineer was also at that meeting, and so to the extent that there are items that we can glean from that, staff will be doing so.
All right, thank you all. That was it. Thanks.
Are you satisfied, Councilmember Garcia? All right, good. Do you want to make a motion then?
Yeah, I want to put a motion to move the item number 2 back to the agenda and to just make sure that the residents are being heard as well too. Thank you.
So that's a motion to approve item 2? Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's 5-0. Thank you. Okay, next item on our agenda is our fire chief report.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'll keep it short, as usual. Our call summary for the last reporting period, overall, our department responses were down slightly. While individual call types remain largely unchanged, we did have a few significant events. We had 3 structure fires since the last couple of weeks, 2 in Yucaipa and then 1 here in Calimesa at the California Mobile Home Park. Everything went well, no injuries to civilians or firefighters. Things went well, and that's all I have. Any questions?
Any questions from the council? No? Thank you.
I got one,
Chief.
Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Garcia does have a question. Thank you.
Related to our your guys' Christmas toy giveaway. Thank you guys for that. You guys did an amazing job with the whole team and providing the toys for donations, and they did a lot of work too. So thank you for that.
I'm sure they'll appreciate it, and I'll pass that back.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. Okay, next is our Sheriff Captain's report. Captain Northrup, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm just going to go over some Part 1 crimes for comparison from 2024 to 2025. As always, these crimes are subject, or these stats are subject to change based on how investigations play out. So in 2024, Calumet recorded approximately 213 Part 1 crimes, 6,703 calls for service, and 113 arrests. In 2025, Part 1 crimes increased to 225, about a 6% increase. Calls for service decreased slightly to 6,631, approximately 1% decrease. And in total, arrests increased to 145, about a 28% increase. So overall, crime increased modestly. Service demand remained relatively the same, and enforcement action, as you see with arrests, increased somewhat significantly. Overall, crime activity in Calumet increased modestly in 2025, driven primarily by the aggravated assaults, or the increase of aggravated assaults and larcenies, while overall property crime remained largely stable. Vehicle thefts declined significantly, offsetting increases in other property offenses. And then calls for service, as you saw, remained consistent over the last 2 years. So total arrests increased substantially, indicating a higher law enforcement activity from 2025 compared to 2024. I think that's primarily due to just an overall increase in the deputies' desire to get out there and detect and deter criminal activity. Any questions on the Part 1 crimes?
No. Oh, yes, please.
I mentioned it to our city manager. There's been quite a few homeless people congregating behind the AutoZone, the liquor store, and the smoke shop on County Line. And I think part of the reason is they have plugins where they can come and charge their phones. And I guess that's a good thing. But they leave their trash, and the store people have to pick it up, and it kind of gives people who shop a bad feeling about going there. So I don't know. I talked to the owners when they brought it to my attention. I said, just call in and report it so that someone can come out if it gets kind of scary or they're uncomfortable with it. But I'm sure you're probably aware of that. Those are the areas in the city where they tend to go.
Yeah. So our Calumet POP deputy works with city or business managers, business owners to try to get trespass letters in order to prevent that type of activity. We can't force the business partners to cooperate with that. But when we do have trespass letters, we do take enforcement action. And then in addition to that, we have our CBAT deputy that will go out and offer services to try to get those transient or homeless people off the street and into services. In addition to that, our Calumet POP deputy is going to be working with the CSO to try to reach out to our business owners and managers to try to get a network together so that we can try to prevent some of this activity from occurring.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem?
If you had more to go, I'll just comment at the end.
I was just going to introduce my successor here, but if you have more on the transients, that'd be great.
I'll just add a quick comment just on the monthly report. So from December that you already reported, I just wanted to say appreciate your deputies' efforts out there. I saw they made multiple arrests and took some guns off the street around the city. So I just want to say I appreciate that.
Yeah, we're working on the January report. December was a pretty good month for stats. We did have a few DUIs, and we took a couple guns off the street. So it was, anytime you get a gun off the street, it's a successful day. So with that, February is going to be my last month at the Cabazon Sheriff Station as the captain. My replacement will be Captain Ernie Escobar. I brought him here today. I just want to bring him up and have him introduce himself. In addition, I'm proud to announce that our POP deputy, Mike Hinkle, was promoted to corporal, so he will be staying at Cabazon. But that's a promotion that just shows kind of some of the hard work that he does behind the scenes for the city every day. He does stuff that, as a deputy, that we usually ask sergeants to do. So he was awarded the Deputy of the Year last week. Unfortunately, I couldn't make that dinner, but it's a well-deserved recognition. So I'll just let Ernie now introduce himself. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain.
Hello, how are you?
All right.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the City Council. So Ernie Escobar, I definitely have some big shoes to fill, but just like to talk a little bit about, just introduce myself and a little bit about what I've done in my background professionally. So I started with the Sheriff's Office in 2007. Finished the basic academy and had the privilege to go out to the city of Moreno Valley and serve there for several years. There I worked on patrol operations, field training officer. I worked the gang unit as well as the career criminal apprehension team. From there I was actually promoted to corporal and then went back to patrol operations, had the opportunity to still do field training, which is something that I really enjoyed. From there I got promoted to investigator, went over to the Jurupa Valley Sheriff Station, where I served there as an investigator, the cities of Eastvale, Jurupa Valley, Norco, as well as the unincorporated area of Highgrove. Promoted to sergeant, and then I went to corrections for about 3.5 years. Went to the Robert Presley Detention Center, got the opportunity to work in corrections, first time doing it, worked floor operations, got to work in the admin unit as well as the gang investigations unit. From there, I went back out to patrol to Jurupa Valley as a sergeant, a watch commander, where I got to serve as a watch commander as well as in the Detective Bureau as the investigation sergeant. And then I had the honor to go over to the Professional Standards Bureau and serve alongside with Captain Northrup at the time. He was a lieutenant and I was a sergeant. From there, I was promoted to the rank of lieutenant, went back to the Jurupa Valley Sheriff Station, worked in an administrative role until I was reassigned to the city of Eastvale to oversee the contract policing through the city. So I did that for about 3.5 years. I'm also a city of Eastvale resident, and it's been an honor to serve in that capacity. Moving forward, I do have the honor to be able to serve in the captain rank, which I'm very honored. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody and getting to know you. I am kind of a zero tolerance kind of guy when it comes to criminals. I don't tolerate criminals, and neither do most of us deputy sheriffs. And so I look forward to keeping the city streets of Calimesa safe. Personally, I'm married. I have 2 grown children. I have a 20-year-old and a 23-year-old. The 23-year-old is off to the races and in her career, which is really good. And the other one is almost graduated from college. So I really am looking forward at this new venture, getting to know everybody. I've already been doing some research on Calimesa and obviously some of the other areas here in Cabazon, but I'm really looking forward at this opportunity, and I appreciate it. I'll take any questions if anybody has any.
Council?
I got a question.
Go ahead.
I don't want to wait until the end because, public comments for us is at the end, but I do want to show my appreciation to our captain for everything that you did. You provided us a lot with great services and everything, and you will be missed here in our community. So thank you so much for the service that you provided, with the 110% that you have always provided to our community.
I appreciate that. As you all know, I live in the area. I shop in Calimesa. My assignment is going to be to the Major Crimes Bureau, so any major crimes that occur in the city of Calimesa or Cabazon Station as a whole, I will have involvement in, and I will also make myself available to Ernie if he needs any questions, input, insight into the city. We're going to try to make this transition as seamless as possible. So,
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Cundiff?
Just kind of echo what Councilman Garcia said. Captain, it's been a pleasure working with you while you've been here with us. You've been a fantastic asset to us, and the information that you've provided in a timely manner anytime we've requested it. Both John and I I can speak for myself and probably for him too. He's going to say the same thing, I'm sure. We've enjoyed working with you and just appreciate your dedication to the citizens and to the city. And great, paths ahead of you, and good luck to wherever that takes you, and you'll be missed.
I appreciate that.
To the incoming captain, I like your energy, I like what you're saying, and I appreciate all those stations that you've been to. Being from San Bernardino County, I had a little different experience than that, but I understand it, and I look forward to the good things that you're going to be able to bring to us and help our citizens with. So welcome, and we look forward to working with you as well.
Thank you.
Councilmember Molina.
Yes, ditto to all that. But you certainly have been a good part of our city, and we all work well together, and your department gives us great service. And we've had the benefit of having a pretty good life here with your department's help. So thank you. We look forward to training another captain. We've had several. I think I've lost track of how many since I've been here, but it's always wonderful, and you'll love the city. You'll love the energy here, but we will miss you, and I wish you personally all the best that you can get, and I hope it's what you want. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely. I just want to echo what my colleagues have said as well. On behalf of the council and the city of Calumet, thank you for all your efforts here. Very much appreciated. We felt in good hands with your leadership, and couldn't be more thankful for what you've done for the city. So thank you, and best of luck, as was said, in your future work. I'm sure you're going to do just fine.
I appreciate that. I really do. You guys are a great group, well engaged. Will's been phenomenal as a city manager to work with, as has council. So I appreciate it, and I have no doubt that you're in good hands going forward.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And to Captain Escobar, welcome. We look forward to working with you as well. Thank you for sharing about yourself, and sounds like you've done a lot already, and so we're looking forward to your contributions to our city as well. So welcome aboard.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Yep.
Thank you. No español. Tú enséñame. But you did.
Yep.
I know, that's goodbye.
Hey, Cervantes, man. Yeah, I get it.
I know. Yeah, I tried to get my dad to teach me, but he's no patience. All right, thank you.
Thank you. And Deputy Hinkle, congratulations as well. We appreciate you, and thank you. Okay. That moves us on to our agenda to item number 10, which is a public hearing. So I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing at this time. And I believe we have a staff presentation on this item that's going to be given by our senior planner, Celine. Is that right? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, and public. So item number 10 is a public hearing related to our general plan housing element update. As some of you may recall, we put a great deal of effort into getting our housing element certified, and we successfully received certification back in October 2025. So HCD did provide a certification letter stating, yes, you're certified and your housing element complies with state law. However, there are a number of programs and policies written into the housing element, so please ensure you follow through with making amendments to incorporate the programs that are needed. So that's why we are here this evening. It's the implementation of programs and policies. So it's essentially a large zone text amendment. And what it's going to do, it's going to clean up our code to make sure that we are properly implementing state law. And so with that, I'll pass that on to Bryant, who is our housing element consultant, and he'll go over the program actions.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Bryant Delatory with Kimley Horn, the city's housing element consultant. So as many of you may know, it's been a long process to get the housing element certified. Good thing it's certified. Maybe bad thing, you got to implement it. So this is the first, not the first, but a big group of implementing actions of the housing element. These are all on the screen. You'll see these are all the actions that are being implemented through this action that's being considered tonight. We'll go into detail of every single one, so I won't read through all of them. But these are all the chapters and sections that are being amended as well. So one section in Chapter 17, and most of them in Chapter 18. So the first real action is related to reasonable accommodations. So what reasonable accommodations are deviations from in the zoning code to allow for disabled persons to live comfortably in their home. So this includes maybe ramps, maybe chair lifts, handrails, stuff like that, that may not be allowed per the code, but as a disabled person and per the Fair Housing Act, cities must have procedures to allow these adjustments for disabled persons. So the revisions is really just to clean up and standardize what the requirements are, have a clear process, and take any objective requirements so that someone can come in and check, essentially have a checklist and say, hey, I comply with all of this, and the city, the director or their designee can approve that really ministerially. It wouldn't really have to come to you all. And the reason for this is to come into compliance with the Fair Housing Act. The next action is to comply with 3 different assembly bills. So this is related to emergency shelters, transitional housing, and supportive housing. Assembly Bill 2339 is related to emergency shelters. AB 139 is transitional housing, and AB 2162 is for supportive housing. So what this does, it really just cleans up the code so that these requirements and regulations for all of these uses are in compliance with that state code. It also aligns the zoning code with their zones. So in some of these, for some of these uses, they may not have been identified as allowed in certain zones where per state law, they should now. So really cleaned up that section. And this next one is kind of related. Low barrier navigation centers, this is really a form of emergency shelters. So they're really mutually exclusive, although low barrier navigation centers have, as it states, it has a lower barrier to entry into navigation centers. So some emergency shelters may require people to enter some type of supportive services, maybe some type of like alcohol counseling, whatever it may be, whereas low barrier navigation is truly just a shelter where someone may come in. So we identified low barrier navigation centers. We defined it since it wasn't in the code, and also identified where it's allowed, which is where emergency shelters are allowed. A big part of this is the ADU code. So in the ADU code, there were some misalignments with state code. Yearly, it feels like weekly, monthly, we're getting new ADU laws. So this edit was to the most, is to get those ADU requirements to the most up to date. So we clarified all the codes, the requirements, any constraints that were identified in there, really stripped them down so that it complies to the T with state law. So at the end, Celine will go through a public comment letter that we also received for the ADU, this ADU section here. Next one is farm worker and agricultural housing. Although there is no known farm worker agricultural housing currently in the city, and we don't anticipate it, you still have to zone for it. So what this does is just allow farm worker and agricultural housing where appropriate per the health and safety code. Small lot development, so this is in Chapter 17. The intent of this is to facilitate the development of what the state considers smaller lots. So this is lots that are half an acre or smaller. And what these amendments would do is really facilitate, make it easier for either lot mergers to facilitate development a little easier, so they're not constrained. Residential care facilities, this is a term that was already identified in the code, but there was some areas that the state now considers constraints, such as not allowing residential care facilities in certain areas. So now residential care facilities must be treated the same as any other residential use. They still have their own requirements. They still need to be, if they're greater than, if they serve more than 7 people or more, they need to be licensed. So there's still all these requirements, but they are still allowed as a residential use essentially, but they still have their own requirements. And that's also to comply with state code and the Fair and Equal Housing Act. Density bonus, this in the code itself, it was out of date. Although staff had been complying with state law, it's really just a code cleanup so that the code itself is up to date. Although staff was already complying with this, it changes the code itself so that everyone knows what's the latest. And then these two actions related to SB 35 and replacement housing are outside of the zoning code, outside of the municipal code, so there's no code changes within the municipal code, but they were completed as part of this action. So the first thing was a checklist. So at the public counter, an applicant can come in, fill out a checklist, and it's a form to state that they're complying with SB 35. So it lists all the requirements, and it makes it easier for staff, also for the applicant to identify, is this SB 35 application compliant? If it's not, you can city can easily reject it. If it does, then you can continue with the process. Same with replacement housing. It's another form that an applicant would come in, and if a certain amount of units are being replaced, then they would have to fill, well, every applicant has to fill out this form, but if a certain amount of units are replaced, there is some requirements that in certain circumstances you have to replace those units elsewhere or as part of the project. But again, these two are forms that are going to be at the public counter and online, and it really helps both applicants and staff to process these applications. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Celine. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so during the January 12 Planning Commission hearing, we did receive a comment from CalHDF, who is the California Housing Defense Fund, raising concerns over our draft revisions. And that comment is provided as part of the staff report as attachment F. Staff and the city attorney's office did review the comment and make the necessary revisions, and you'll see those under section 18.20.05L. And with that, we would like to make the recommendation that the City Council adopt Ordinance 419 as amended, approving Zone Text Amendment 25-01, which updates various sections of Chapter 18 and 17, and also find the project categorically exempt from California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, pursuant to CEQA Guidelines Section 15061B3 and 15282H. And then if you have any questions, I am available. Also, Kimberly Horn, and I'm sorry I didn't update the slide. So I have Catherine Reed up there, but Kevin Ennis, to my knowledge, has been briefed from the Planning Commission meeting, so he can also answer questions.
Thank you. Council, you'll have time to ask questions in a moment, but first we're going to take public comment. Members of the public are encouraged to provide comments on this issue if they would like. Of course, as before, if they can limit the comments to 3 minutes. And be advised, though, that once the public hearing has been closed, no further testimony will be taken. So at this time, do we have any public comments?
I do not have any slips here tonight from the meeting, but I did receive an email just prior to the meeting from Bill Thomas. You all have a copy of that, so that will become part of the record.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other speakers, we are going to move on to close public hearing. All right, and this will now bring us to council questions and discussion. Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Garcia.
I do. Just a little bit of clarification on the ADUs. I'm not sure if this is relevant, but when an ADU is being built, would it be addressed with the structure of everything being balanced with the neighborhood, or are there going to be any buildings higher than others and kind of unbalance the neighborhood? Just like, like the LA area, San Diego County area, the balance of not being equally looking all the same?
Government code now has a height requirement, so that's 18 feet, which is standard across the state. So when it comes to that, it's all standard. There is, in some cases, some deviations from that, such as if you have ADU above your garage, it can be greater than 18 feet, but it can't be larger than the existing structure. Sorry, I don't know if that answered your question. But yeah, it is pretty standardized. There's not a lot of wiggle room. And that comment letter that the city received was really referencing to that. So there were some requirements in there that we had that were a little more subjective, but we clarified with the explicit statement in there that the government code takes precedent.
Oh, okay. So if I'm understanding, any new structure cannot be higher than the existing structure, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other Councilmember comments? Councilmember Molina.
Yeah, I just wanted to compliment staff on certification of the housing element. That's all.
And my understanding, which I think you made very clear, but just to reiterate maybe for the public's benefit, is that this amendment is largely just an update to the zoning ordinance to bring it up to date in compliance with the state housing law. And in that respect, it's largely a state mandated item. Is that right?
Correct. Regardless of if the municipal code is updated or not, staff, the city must still process it per the government code. So it is just really just getting it up to date with the state code.
Right. Thank you for that. All right. With that, staff had a recommendation that we would adopt ordinance number 419 as amended. Council, can I get a motion?
I can get the motion. Yeah, yeah. Just correct me if I need to do it differently, but, so I'll make a motion that the city council conduct the first reading by title only of ordinance number 419, approving zone text amendment CCA 25-01, which updates various sections of chapter 18 and chapter 17 as part of the 2021-2029 housing element implementation program project, and find the project categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to CEQA guidelines 15601B3 and 15282H.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that. Thank you. Good reading.
Thank you. Thank you, both of you. Now, all in favor of that? Aye. Aye. That's 5-0. Okay. All right, so now it moves on to item 11, which is a business item. And this is our mid-year financial and budget report. And this is going to be handled, I believe, by our finance director.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. This feels very loud. So it is my pleasure to present to you this evening the mid-year budget report for fiscal year 25-26, and I believe we have our PowerPoint. Thank you. And I'll go ahead and get started. I just want to also preface and indicate that the city manager and I met with our finance committee members, our mayor and mayor pro tem, and now we're bringing this full presentation to the council for your consideration and for the public. So starting with the first slide, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025, because we want to report the actual data and numbers and compare that to what we had for projected results at that time. So looking at the revenue line item, I'm pleased to say that we had projected 10.5 million and our actuals came in at 10.5 million, relatively close. There's a difference in variation of about $80,000, of which we're pleased to see because it's roughly a 1% variance, and it was to the favor of Calamasa, and we collected more revenue than we collected. So it's an indication that as we are doing our projections that we're in line and it's consistent, and it's important to track that. The following line item is the revenue with respect to unrealized gain and loss on the LAIF account. That's subject to variation, as you know, with respect to the stock market and bonds and CDs and so forth. So that's usually budgeted at a zero amount because to predict what the market will be wouldn't be advisable. So we typically don't project for that number. The expenditures, we had projected 10.8 million, but the actual expenditures were 10.2. So it's a variance of 623,000 reflected as a savings in expenditures. However, 314,000 of that was carried over and rolled over into fiscal year 25-26. These are projects and items of which we anticipated spending in fiscal year 25. However, because of our staff and as you get through projects, sometimes they don't always align with the fiscal year, so they transitioned over. We do have a detail of what was carried over in attachment F of the staff report if you're interested in looking at details. So this results in a net operating surplus of 467,000 for fiscal year 25. We did have transfers out of 1.3 million. Those are largely considered to be one-time items and fund capital needs for the city. Including this, it's a rather large number, but we transferred 326,000 to the fire diff fund to help support future lease payments. We spent 30,000 for fire equipment and to preserve our medical supplies. Some of them have to be temperature controlled. Included in that number is the $200,000 we budgeted for for our senior center restrooms, $100,000 for our roof, and so forth. So these are all very familiar to you as we're talking about, and you've seen what's happened with the city. But this is in large part what was facilitated in the transfer. So the general fund balance as of June 30th, 2025 is approximately 7.7 million, which is a very strong fund balance. It's roughly 70% of our overall operating expenditures. So it's a very strong position with respect to our fund balance.
Celeste, can I just clarify something real quick on the unrealized gain?
Thank you.
That is an accounting entry that we are required to do under accounting standards every year. So it doesn't reflect the actual cash balance. It's just a calculation that we're required to do as part of our government accounting standards. So that's why that does appear there. We're required to do it, but it doesn't necessarily reflect fluctuations in our available cash in LAIF.
Thank you. So moving on to fiscal year 25-26, this is a mid-year budget report, and we've done some analysis and review as we do probably on a monthly basis in tracking our income and looking at seeing how it is we budgeted versus what's actually occurred. So these are revenue estimates that we're recommending for consideration, and we're asking and requesting for your consideration based on our review of an increase in taxes, about 116,000 for interest income. I've identified this as one time, and the differentiation is while interest income can always be expected to be earned, and we always have interest income, Will and I have given, the city manager, have given great care to make sure. I think you're aware we were in a relatively very low interest rate environment for several years with respect to interest earnings, and that's not the case anymore. Interest rates are higher, so that results in higher interest earnings for Calamasa. So we did some analytics, and this might be familiar to you. We talked about it when we actually did the budget. We did some analytics for 20 years, came up with a schedule to really come down to the net of what we feel it could be counted on for routine interest income. And as we were doing our projections, we were doing these projections in January of last year. So to look out a year in advance as to what's happening with the interest rates, as it turns out, they haven't gone down very much. So it results in an increase for Calamasa, but it's nothing. I think we're very conscientious, and you're aware that we're aware of one-time revenue versus ongoing revenue, that we don't ever want to become too accustomed and build into our routine expenditures that which is one time and something that could not be available to us in future years. And $100,000 is a pretty significant amount. So long story, that's why we consider it one time. The charges for services for planning and engineering, this is an increase. We've had some increases with our CPI indices, and that increased our fees. And we've had wonderful, wonderful output and success with our switch to OpenGov. So as we were doing analysis, it looks like we were just a little too I don't want to use the word conservative, we just underestimated the revenues that were coming in. So we felt comfortable listing these as recurring. The $518,000 is, of course, a very significant number, and that is related to one-time development agreements and increases to our administrative fees that we collect on deposits. Same philosophy. We want to be very careful. We can always anticipate some level of administrative fees, but I believe we budgeted $30,000, which is considered a reasonable number, and our administrative fees are looking to be closer to $100,000 this year. So if big development projects go away and everything was held in suspense, that's an additional $70,000 we couldn't necessarily expect. So that's a differentiation in how and why it is that we're referring to revenues as one-time versus ongoing. So overall, it's a very nice increase for Calamasa, approximately $771,000 net increases in revenue.
Can I just make a comment on the charges for services as well? Because I think that does deserve some additional clarification or context. Celeste did a very good job of explaining that it's to do with OpenGov, and I think the reason for that is because we actually have people processing things properly. So I don't think that it wasn't that necessarily that people didn't want to come in and pull permits for certain projects or things like that. I think just the old method of having to come to the counter during certain hours was tough for people, and they said, okay, well, I guess I'll run the risk of not getting the permit. By making it easier for people to get permits, people are actually doing it. So it's not necessarily a reflection and increase in activity. It's just an increase in the activity we're capturing, I think, is really what it comes down to. So that's why we're classifying it as ongoing revenue rather than one time.
Thank you. So I provided this schedule because I wanted you to see a linear review and categorically of the trend of how revenues are increasing. You see our actuals were 10.7 million last year. We bumped them up to closer to 10.9, and of course, now based on my discussion with the previous slide, it's going to be closer to 11.7, but it does bear consideration, of course, that 630,000 of that increase really is to one-time revenue, but we are pleased with the changes in the other categories that we saw. So correspondingly, we also did some assessments and understanding about where our expenditures are based on where we had anticipated them to be. So there's a recommendation to increase legal fees by $300,000, professional services by $100,000. This is being referred to as one time as because of the development that we have. There's a lot of activity, and we have had some need for additional planning consultants and so forth. So it's resulting in higher than what we had anticipated at the beginning when we had prepared the budget. The professional services of $55,000, that's actually ongoing because it's in direct correspondence in relation to our ongoing building and safety and permits and fees. There's a correlation there. And then we just have a couple of repairs and maintenance. There's about $15,000 of replanting that needs to be done at the Mountain View 4th Street Park. And there's just a small increase of about $8,000. We had an unexpected, our air conditioner went out and it was unexpected expense. And so based on our repair and maintenance budget, it was quite considerable, so we bumped that up. So there's a request for your consideration to increase expenditure adjustments by $478,000. And here's a review similar to the revenue that I just wanted you to see linearly for the categories that did in fact increase. And speaking of, let me take a reference here. So we had projected actual revenues at expenditures at 10.2. We're going to 11.1. Now it's 11.6 as projected. So in summary, I've spent a lot of time talking about one-time versus ongoing, and I'm very pleased to share with you in the ongoing column that we're expecting a operating surplus of $162,000, which we are pleased with. I think when we had done the budget, it was projected at $84,000. I should have.
Yeah, roughly half that. Yeah.
Okay, so we're so pleased to see this. I do have to say the reason why we're pleased to see it is because we are always looking ahead, right? So we have fiscal year 26, 27, and I'm sure you know and recall, we can anticipate our insurance can increase anywhere from 10 to 20%. We have staff step increases, which increases by 5%. We have the great benefit of expanding and enhancing our access with our computer software, but most computer softwares are now increasing every year by 5%. So next year, we can expect to have some increases in revenue, but also increases in expenditures. So we're very pleased that we have the net ongoing net surplus of about $162,000. We're pleased with that. So as projected, it's only a projected number, but because of the one-time expenditures we do have, with our beginning fund balance of 7.7, we're projecting the ending fund balance to be about 7.1 million. That is consideration of quite a few one-time expenditures. And I have detailed, and this is in your schedules as well, I've detailed what our one-time expenditures are because it does sound, it's a pretty significant number. But you can see there's about 5 categories that really take up most of the increases. We have a strategic planning consultant. That's not something that's done every year. We have the grant application and writing for professional services. This is a recent approval from City Council for the Cherry Valley Interchange and seeking grants to expand our interchange project. The attorney fees, of which we mentioned, which relates to ongoing litigation. The planning consultants, and then a Parks and Trails study, which is considered to be one time. It's not something that's ongoing. And the differentiation, just to wrap it up, is we always want to bear consideration that if something were to occur and there was an experience that Calimesa had for which we needed to really lock down and look at what we have. The one-time expenditures can be removed, they aren't ongoing, they aren't part of our recurring activity and budgeted expenditures. So it always tell us that we can live within our means, that our ongoing revenue is matching our ongoing expenditures. I wanted to also mention there are 2 other fund adjustments of which we're recommending an additional expenditure of about $120,000 and for professional services inside our insurance fund. And then we're requesting our vehicle fund have an additional $30,000 for outfitting. We had our brush engine that was dedicated and given to Calimesa. It needs to be outfitted. So $20,000 we're going to be able to utilize from the general fund carryover, but we do need the additional $30,000 from the vehicle fund. So we wanted to properly budget for that. And looking ahead, we are going to have a budget workshop, so we invite the public to attend. We like to have people come and participate. Our budget workshop is scheduled for Monday, April 27th, 2026 from 5 to 7, and there's a lot of wonderful information shared. There's a lot of deliberation amongst the council members about what projects we're looking at for fiscal year 26-27. We're anticipating the final budget presentation and proposed adoption for fiscal year 26-27 to be Monday, June 1st, 2026. And I'd like to open it up to all of you for any discussions or questions, or if you'd like any particular information about any item, I'm happy to expand. And between Will and I think we can cover questions that you have.
Before we get to your questions, I just want to make one comment on the budget workshop. So based on feedback from our last one, we moved it back. Historically, we've done it at 3 p.m., but we understand, we have a majority of our council that work full-time jobs in addition to this, so we wanted to recognize that. So that's why we pushed it to 5 p.m.
We appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you for the precise but concise review of but you did well putting it into this compact format. Mayor Pro Tem Manley and myself had opportunity to take a deep dive into this material, much longer deep dive version of this, and ask some questions. So now I'm going to open it up to council, see if anyone else has any questions, comments. Councilmember Cundiff? Sia? Okay.
I just want to say thank you. Les did amazing, very clear presentation and very straightforward. And thank you for actually considering the time hours too for us full-time workers that I think a lot of the residents don't realize that, when we get here earlier, we're actually taking away from our own time from work. So I really appreciate that you guys are working around our schedule to attend a full meeting. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we didn't forget it. We looked at each other this year and said, we need to do something different. I think it came from Will. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Okay, is there anything else, Will, that you'd like to mention, or does this wrap it up?
No, I have nothing else.
Okay, and I just want to follow up and say, if you ever have any questions, if you look at something, I know it's a lot to take in right now. If you need any clarification, Will knows this, our city manager knows it as well as I do, and we're always happy to help and answer questions that you have.
Now, we do have to approve a resolution, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get a motion, please?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that the City Council approve Resolution Number 2026-02, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Calimesa, amending the fiscal year 2025-26 budget to include recommended adjustments as provided in attachments A through E.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 5-0. Okay, this brings us to the final part of our agenda, mayor and council member reporting on county and regional meetings. It's obviously a time where council has a chance to make general comments or comment on any meetings they've attended or make announcements and so forth. So we just go around the table. Councilmember Garcia.
Got nothing to report besides thanking the staff. We ended the year strong, and we started the year strong as well too. So thank you so much, team, for providing great services to our community and our residents here. And a big shout out to the fire department as well too. I mentioned earlier, me and my oldest son attended the toy drive before you guys were doing, but we supported the fire department, and a few of our staff members here from the city attended as well too. So big shout out to them too. And to the Public Works Department as well too. Thank you for making the roads safer with the stripes. Not only the residents from Calimesa, but the residents from Beaumont as well too are very happy and excited too with the new striping on that area going towards the Beaumont Unified and the Brookside Elementary School and Cherwin Hills. There's a few schools out there. So, and for the Sheriff's Department as well too, thank you so much for everything that you guys have done, providing great leadership within Calimesa and then within the department as well, not only for our city but our surrounding cities at the Cabazon area. You will truly be missed, and I am hoping to see you guys soon again and hear the great things that you guys are going to be bringing into the Sheriff's Department and within our community. So thank you, and welcome our new captain as well too. So welcome to the team. And that will end my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Molina? All right.
Like always. Excuse me. On the 14th of January, I attended the RTA Budget and Finance meeting. And usually the first meetings of the year in all these regional committees is basically just to affect their leadership, who's going to chair, who's going to be vice chair, and then approve the meetings for the year and also the goals for the year. So as long as I've been in RTA, I've been on the budget committee, but they surprised me this year and made me chair of the admin and ops committee. So that's something new. So I'll be bringing information about that. January 21 through the 23rd in Sacramento was the Cal Cities Mayor and Councilperson Academy in Sacramento, and in between that was the transportation policy meeting that I sit on for Cal City, so I attended both. I'll be bringing back, they always provide a summary. The one thing that I liked about the Academy this year was they didn't have conflicting sessions so that you had to pick and choose what you wanted to attend. So that was good. I was able to attend as many as I could. So one day of the 3 days was the policy committee, and that's transportation, communications, and public works. So we approved the goals for the year and, again, leadership for that. On the 24th of the month, I attended the Vet Expo in Beaumont at the Chatney Center. This is something they do every year. It was well attended by our veterans. So I represented our city and went as a line, and we cooked over 300 hot dogs for everyone who attended. So it was really nice. On the 26th, I attended RCTC's Budget and Finance meeting. I've chaired this committee for 2 years. They made me chair again for the 3rd year. So I like that because we get to hear about the money before it goes to commission meetings. So that's a good for us to know. We usually don't have any direct projects for our city because we're so small, but we get to see what's happening with Measure A. So it's good. It's good information. I'll be bringing back all information for all the council as well. On the 28th, Mayor and I attended the Mesa Verde ad hoc meeting with our city manager and the developers, and so that's going well for Mesa Verde. And then on the 29th through the 30th, I attended RCTC's annual workshop in Cathedral City. And that was also very, very good. I'll be bringing information back again. It's looking pretty bleak for 26 and 27 years as far as funding because the state isn't supporting as well. The money, I mean, DC is uncertain, but the state is as well. So I don't know how the election is going to go this year and hopefully how that'll change. But there's new leadership there on transportation committees and one thing I can tell you, because I sit on Metrolink and bus boards, the bus systems are doing pretty well. After COVID, the ridership is coming up. They offer a lot of programs for the colleges, so students get to ride for free, and they open it up for the public. The trains, not so well. There are trains in Paris, Metrolink trains in Paris, and then Metrolink in downtown LA. They manage 5 counties. And you've probably seen in the news, every day there's been a train stoppage or diversion or people getting hit, by the train. And it's called like death by train. It's something I just learned about. I know it's kind of morbid. But what that means is, their ridership is suffering anyway. And so if you don't ride, just like transit, if you don't ride public service, you have a 2-year period to have your ridership up as high as you can get it to guarantee funding for the next funding cycle. And so it's looking pretty bad for Metrolink. So I'll be bringing back information on that. It's hard to talk people into riding the trains if you have these issues. So unfortunately, if you manage your time, I think it works well. The bus systems and the train systems work together and offer benefits to ride both if you're like going to LA or going east. So I encourage everyone to ride mass transit. It's safe. It's safe out here. It's safer than Los Angeles. And the bathrooms are clean and timing, they're on time. But anyway, and then I put on everyone's packet a flyer for a winery. It's called Voice of the Wine Industry. I received a call today. This is a new nonprofit, and they're inviting us all. This is just information. There's nothing to approve, but they're trying. I'll read the flyer. It's not very much. We're excited to bring together growers, winemakers, retailers, and landowners from across the Yucaipa Valley, AVA, and surrounding areas for our very first coalition event. This gathering marks the beginning of a shared vision to give our local wine industry a strong, united voice. It's Sunday, March 1st from 1 to 3. It's in at Sacred Oak Vineyards in Cherry Valley, and it sounded interesting to me. I'm thinking of industry, jobs, and so on, something new for our city. So it piqued my interest. So you'll be hearing more about that. I had them call Will to schedule an appointment, but it's just information at this point. And that's all I have. Thank you so much.
And I did receive a call from Ms. Snodgrass today.
Yeah, they're a new nonprofit. There was an initial group that the North Bench and Yucaipa fought like crazy because it wasn't organized. There were issues like who's going to pay for the water, who's going to maintain the vines and all that. And this is a different group, so there's nobody from. It's not the same group as before. It's a new group. So I'd like to hear what they have to say. So thank you.
Thank you for all that, Councilmember Cundiff.
Thank you, Mayor. I have just a few things to report. Participated in ad hoc for public safety with Mayor Pro Tem Manley on the 12th. More information to come with that, where we were evaluating some surveillance systems and things of that nature for the parks. So once we have a better understanding of which way we're going to go with that, we'll have that information to bring back to council. But it was very promising. There was a lot of great information shared with us about that to be a benefit to the citizens, of course, that utilize those parks and things. So just to share a little bit about that, on the 29th, attended the chamber installation dinner. And that was a very nice, you were there as well, and Mayor Pro Tem was there as well. And it was a nice event where they honored one of our firefighters of the year, which was, I thought maybe Chief Shaw would have told us, what was his name?
Logan Manis.
Logan Menace, yes, thank you. I apologize for not having that prepared, but congratulations to that young man. And, you know, what a fantastic thing to be recognized. And then I believe Deputy Hinkle was also recognized as Deputy of the Year over there, that guy, Mr. Corporal to be. So, you know, to reiterate our comments to Captain Northrup, you know, it's been a pleasure having him in our city, and all the great work that you've done clearly represents why you've been selected to be promoted. I wish you well in all your endeavors, and we'd be lucky to have you back at some point as a sergeant or something like that, you know, to continue to work in our city. So kudos to you, congrats to you, and good luck to you. Lastly, today I did attend my first WRCOG meeting, which I got to tell you, that was very daunting. That is a whole lot of stuff going on at those meetings, and so I will pass just a little bit of information to you guys, and then once I get an update, as you did, I will make that available to you all. Apparently, we are ranked number 1 in the IREN project, which stands for the Inland Regional Energy Networking. And I know this because they gave us this little graph, you know, and so I was asked by several of the other directors, you know, hey, what are you guys doing? And so I'm going to be caught up to speed on that by our Public Works Director and our City Manager as to all the good things that the citizens are being able to benefit from this program that we're in. So once I have some more information on that, I'll be happy to share it. And lastly, to the gentleman that came to give us this great presentation on the Scottish Festival, that sounds very fun, sounds very interesting. Unfortunately, on that 21st, we're going to be having our budget and finance meeting, I believe, for a good majority of that day, or strategic planning or something, I think. Yeah, we have something going on that day, but yeah. But on the latter part of the event, it did sound like you guys had some interesting things going on that evening with whiskeys and the like. So, you know, I may need to go visit that after that day. So, you'll want to. Yeah, and thanks again to staff. Celeste always does a great job. You know, Finance Director Reed, I apologize, does a great job with the numbers and with Will's help and everything, and staff always does a great job for us. So thank you to all the staff at the city for all their hard work and great things that they do for us. That's all I have.
Thank you, Council Member. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. So a few things. January 12th, attended the Public Safety Ad Hoc with Councilmember Cundiff. Kind of covered that. I won't rehash that, so more to come on that for Summerwind Park. And on January 26th, I attended the Finance Committee. That was my first Finance Committee, so I enjoyed that with the mayor here. We covered the mid-year budget, which we discussed today, and we also had a presentation of the audited financial statement, which was exhilarating, and I really enjoyed being on the finance side of it. So I think that's all I have. So that concludes my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So, as Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, on the 26th, I also attended the Finance Committee meeting. Thanks to our City Manager and our Finance Director for getting us up to speed and preparing. Man, a lot of documentation, a lot of important information. Appreciate, as Councilmember said, your work with the numbers and your talent to do so. Appreciate that. Well, I guess I should back up and say that on January 15th, I attended my couch for about a week because I was sick. And man, that was rough. That was a rough meeting. So there's some stuff going around, so be careful. Be careful out there. Fortunately, I'm feeling a lot better now. On January 28th, I attended the Mesa Verde Ad Hoc. That was a very important meeting. More to come on that. It's going to be a great development in our community. On January 29th, I also attended the Chamber's installation. So, as Councilmember said, congratulations to our award winners, our Deputy of the Year, our Firefighter of the Year, our Businesses of the Year, and so forth. It was a great event to honor those. On today, I attended our RCA meeting, and Council will get a report on that. So, that concludes my report, I believe, and that takes us to our city manager's comments and report. Mr. Cobal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to give a brief update on the 4th Street / Mountain View Park expansion. So the project is nearing completion, but there are still active construction and establishment activities occurring in portions of the new area. Because of that, certain sections of the park remain closed and secured for safety reasons. So over the past few weeks, some access points were temporarily unlocked for construction purposes, but those areas are not open to the public. Staff has since resecured those access points and will be adding additional signage to make it clear which areas are closed and why. And through this, we do appreciate everyone's patience as we finish this last phase, and we look forward to opening the full park as soon as it's ready. On the City Hall renovation project, so the new city, we are still actively in escrow to purchase the B of A building. That's ongoing, but in the meantime, we are trying to plan ahead to try to get plans going for the renovation of that. So we held a mandatory job walk earlier today at the B of A building. We had over 20 architectural and engineering firms represented, which indicates a high level of interest in the project. Excuse me. Based on that turnout, we are anticipating a strong competitive set of proposals. So proposals are due February 19th, and then after review and evaluation, staff will bring a recommended firm to council for approval. Now, depending on the number of proposals, that makes it take some time with that level of interest. Monty and I looked at each other earlier today, and we're like, ooh, this could take some time if we get a lot of proposals. So, but we've kind of strategized on how we could probably go through that efficiently. So the last thing is on the podcast. I wanted to share 2 quick updates on that. First, a new interview with Councilmember Garcia will be released this Friday, so I'd encourage residents to tune into that. Second, I want to introduce a series that I put together on the podcast YouTube page called Local Government 101. It's an educational series designed to help residents better understand how local government actually works, everything from budgeting and public safety to land use development and the role of the city council and city manager. The series is currently 17 episodes of the podcast, kind of curated. And it's organized in a dedicated playlist using YouTube's new course playlist format. So they have a thing where you can label something as a course, and there's certain guidelines that have to be met for it to be considered that. So it shows up in that way. I shared it on my LinkedIn page and actually got a lot of feedback on that. So it's something that I think that'll not only help our residents, but it'll help the local government community as a whole. To try to close the gap in knowledge between local government and the people that we serve, because I think it's really important. So if you're interested in that, anybody can watch that at calamasa.gov/podcasts. And that'll conclude my report.
Thank you. Yes.
I forgot 2 real important things, if you'll
Please.
indulge me.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to thank staff for the condition of our streets. The paving, the grading, the signage, our streets are looking pretty good, County Line especially, and it really helps with safety, and our streets were so bad for so long, they look fantastic. So thank you, thanks the staff. And then I forgot to mention to you, Will, at the RCTC workshop, I was bragging about your podcast to the group of, all the cities recommend in Riverside County. And Aaron would like to join a podcast with you. I don't know if he contacted you.
He didn't. I contacted you. You told me about that, and I contacted him. And so we're We're going to talk, he's a little bit busy right now, but he and I are going to talk in late February and probably do something in March or April.
Yeah, so I was bragging about your skills, and I asked, do we have one? And they said no. So I said, you got to talk to Will. Thank you, Mayor.
Absolutely. The podcasts are fantastic. They're always an education, full of a ton of good information. Looking forward to this Local Government 101. Sounds good. Yeah, according to Tony Phillips, you've gotten a lot better than when you first started. Yeah.
Well, I would hope. I wouldn't get worse.
That was fun. All right. So 2 weeks from today is President's Day holiday. So everyone enjoy the day off. So that means we will not be having a council meeting on Monday. It will be on Tuesday, February 17th. So I'm going to adjourn this meeting, the regular meeting of the City Council, and we will resume our next council meeting on Tuesday, February 17th at 6 p.m.